One of the questions I get quite often is, how do insurance companies get clients? And as an insurance agent, how do I get clients if I'm starting a new business? Well, today we're going to dive into that. Before I dive into this, let me know in the comments below if you're an agent and you're watching some of these videos. I want to know, just out of curiosity, have you watched one of my other videos on just the basics of insurance or just coverages or a specific company or discounts? I'm curious to see if this channel should be branched off, where I talk specifically just to customers on this channel and I create a separate one for agents, because I am every Thursday uploading agent transformation videos where I can give you more specific agent advice and all of that details to help you guys grow your business, become better salesmen, and essentially get what the customer needs at the end of the day, where you both win. So I'm curious, definitely let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, let's dive right into it. So there's a couple different ways that insurance agents get clients. There's the most powerful way, which is word of mouth. And if you have friends and family, I know when I started as an agent, my first company didn't even want me contacting my friends and family, just because they were a volume-based company. They only bought leads. They threw 20 to 40, sometimes more leads on your phone line, where you literally hung up the phone, it rang again, and there was another person in your ear. Just constant. I think the longest wait time I had once was a 15-minute gap, and it just felt weird to have 15 minutes to do nothing. Essentially, that is one way. But the word of mouth piece is more so for those people that are becoming an agent, and they have mom and dad and friends and family. And what you should do, and what I did, is build a list of 100 names. You might say right now, well, I don't know 100 people. You might as well shut this video off now, because that is impossible. You've got to know 100 people. I'm not talking the person who you're going to call in the middle of the night. Sure, that person, your car breaks down, you're going to call them. That's probably your first client, and that's usually the first person you want to quote. They're going to be receptive. If you're competitive, or even if they want to stay with you, then they're likely going to join. For me, that was my mother-in-law and my parents. That worked out really good. There's other family members that let me quote them, and this should be for practice. If you're new to your business and you're just starting off, at least get some practice in, collect that 100 names, contact them, shoot for at least a minimum of 50 or more names that you will be able to collect some basic information. Just get the basics of what you need to have for data to plug into the system, because most systems are smart. They're going to pull the VIN numbers, they're going to pull the drivers automatically. So they're usually going to know everything that they need in the background. And if it doesn't cost you anything, you might as well just make it simple for them. Just find out if you're competitive, and if they're like, oh, no, I'm good with my current agent, I just let you do that for practice, then so be it. You just say goodbye, and now they know you're an insurance agent. So when they have trouble with that other agent that they have, they're likely going to come back to you. I'm going to try my hardest not to go on tangents, because I've got 1,000 stories that pop up when I think of these types of leads. Quoting friends and family, there's a great thing, there's a tough part about it, but you just got to do it. You've got to stake your claim and let people know that you're an insurance agent. Another great way is to work with the current clients that you have, or when you save somebody money, there's two things that you can do. Number one is ask for referrals. Hey Sue, I just saved you $800. Is there anybody else that you can think of right now, 2 people that I could call today that would want to save an additional $800 that you'd like me to help them? Get those names. Send it in an email. Hey, I work on referrals. I love it if you pass my name out. Those 2 pieces, that part one of the 2 pieces is extremely powerful. Getting referrals is powerful. The reason it is because it's a higher converting sale, especially if you 3-way call and have that person introduce you. A little bit more entailed, a little bit more direct. If you're not comfortable with that, it's perfectly fine. You can call them out of the blue with their permission, and maybe have your friend send a message to them and say, hey, so-and-so is going to call you about insurance around 12 o'clock tomorrow. And you just try to get a hold of them whenever you can at that point. Now, some companies are really specific. It depends on the state you're in. Some of the laws don't allow you just to call them out of the blue, so you may have to have the customer introduce you to call them. If you're in one of those states, it's just part of it. It actually is more powerful. You're going to get a lot less referrals that way, just because most customers aren't just apt to do that for you. But if they are, and you get used to doing it, you're going to get a larger conversion rate by having that warm transfer into that person. The second part of that is when you're working with a specific person, as you sell them a policy, it's getting their social media information. ask their permission. Hey, can I make a post that lets people know that I saved you money on social media? If they give you approval, then what you're going to do is find what is their most powerful social media. So do you use Facebook or Instagram? How do you connect online? You post something about that, not necessarily giving away specific details. So you can say that I saved you within our average, and then maybe show the average is $600 to $700 or whatever your average savings are. But let people know. What's going to happen is they may share that on their social media. Also, when they share it, people will like it. When people like it, you can click on those people and send them individual messages. Hey, I noticed that you clicked on that you like that so-and-so saved on their insurance. Do you mind if I do a quote for you? That can exponentially grow your business without spending an extra dollar. Those are the free ways. There's one other free way that I think is very, very, very powerful, but takes a long time. If you haven't watched my most recent video, I talked about it here, but let's dive in a little bit more in depth. So getting referrals, as we said, is powerful. And when I say powerful, I mean you're going to likely close them 70% of the time if you're competitive. Well, what's another way to get a referral? I've run out of friends and family. I've done the Facebook post and I get 2 to 3 leads that way. That's great, but I need more. You need to connect and reach out to mortgage brokers. You need to be in some sort of networking connection, not necessarily a networking group like the BNI. Those work really good. The only thing I don't like about a BNI group or a networking group is I feel like they become stagnant over time. Where sure, Susan, who does the home appraisals or does so-and-so cooking or does whatever part of the networking group she's joined for, may refer you once a month a customer, may refer you somebody every so often. Personally, I'm looking to spend my time focused on the actual person that is in that group, which is the mortgage broker. Almost every BNI group has a mortgage broker. They're in there because everybody wants refinances, everybody has connection. You have those connections in insurance, but they're less likely to refer you out unless you really connect into a really good BNI group and you can show value. So imagine a BNI group, you're going to have to show up 7 a.m., 9 a.m., whatever that time is. You're going to take an hour to an hour and a half out of your day once a month or once a week, depending on how often you meet. And it might be fun to meet, pending COVID. It's probably some virtual system now. But depending how often you meet, you're not likely going to get as many referrals being part of that program versus if you connect with mortgage brokers yourself. Wait a minute. Let's dive into it. How do I connect with a mortgage broker? I'm connecting online through LinkedIn or some sort of social media or people I know. When a mortgage broker is doing a mortgage for somebody, they typically need to shave off some of those expenses. They need to show the debt to income ratio lower to give them better rates. Well, you can do that if you can save them several $100s on their insurance, and so you can quote them the lower home and the lower auto. You connect with one really good mortgage broker, and if they're really doing their job and they're constantly quoting people, refinancing, doing all of that, and they connect you really well, you could get 4, 5, even 10 leads a week from them alone. And that's really good, not just because it sounds like you're going to get a few leads, but because the close ratio on that is typically, in my experience, close to 70%. Once again, it takes time. You've got to nurture that. You've got to have a relationship. You've got to meet for coffee. You may have to bring them donuts and just kind of warm them up to who you are. You may be the best person in the world, but unless they know that, they're not going to take the time because they're busy. They need to have something that you can assist with them. Sometimes you're just giving them leads. Maybe you'll once a day or once every time you make a sale say, hey, I also work with so-and-so that does great with mortgages. Here's his contact information. I'd love it if you give him a call. He can help you refinance. So you're going to give them as much as they're going to give you. At the end of the day, I think connecting with 2 to 3 really solid mortgage brokers is going to be amazing for your business. Not enough? Well, we haven't spent any money. So let's dive into the money portion. So we've got all of this business that we can drum up on our own. It's a time involvement. You're investing time into quoting friends, families, getting referrals, sending out cards, building relationships with mortgage brokers, bringing them donuts, whatever the case is. You're connecting with them somehow, which takes time. Being part of a BNI group is also good. I personally would start one. So if you're going to spend the time, you might as well build one, and then you can pick who and what is in that group. Now, that's the freebies. The paid ones also work really well depending on how much you have ad spend. There's a slew of companies that sell leads constantly, and there's multiple types of leads. I'm going to make a separate video on this, but I'll quickly give you my experience with several of them. So there's 10-cent leads. Those are typically 1 to 3 year old leads. You've got your $4 to $5 leads. That depends on if you're buying home or auto. I personally would buy the home, assuming that they have auto as well. Then you have your $6 to $8 leads, which are fairly newer leads. So they're stuff that came in recently. Now you've got your $10 to $15 leads. Those are like instant quotes. They filled out a quote now, send it directly to you. Sometimes in that price bracket, you can buy the leads that are instant quotes that are exclusive to you. Because don't think that if you buy a lead that you're the only one that gets it. Typically an insurance company or an advertising company will market this, sell it to 7 different companies. So that customer is going to get 4 or 5 phone calls. You're going to be one of them. Call them first. Then you've got your $20 to $30 to $50 leads, and those are live transfers. Those are people that are on the phone. These marketing agencies have built these call centers where they're dialing out, doing the work for you. When they get somebody, they put you in contact with them. Essentially what happens is they're going on those 10-cent leads and those $1 leads, and they're blasting out 1,000 of them. So they're spending 10 cents times 1,000, and they finally get one, or they get a couple on that 1,000, and they're going to transfer those to different agencies. So you have to determine, is time more valuable or money more valuable? Because both work well. If you're willing to build the foundation and the solid piece, I think no matter what, you still need to do the freebies on top of the paid version. So I'm going to skip right to the question that you're asking next, which is, Mark, I know that all, so where do I buy these leads? Well, the easiest way to determine that is anywhere. I'll just save you the time. The 2 most common that you're going to find is All Web Leads and EverQuote. Those are 2 companies that have massively expanded their network. Most companies sell to All Web Leads and sell to EverQuote. When you're diving in deep, you don't have to necessarily pay the All Web Lead price or the EverQuote price when you can find that X company or Y company also sells to them and you can buy them directly. So you might as well try to dig in a little bit further. It's really a test and try. I would suggest 90 days with most companies, but if you're in insurance, you want to go fast. You're probably going to give them 45 days. I get it. I still suggest you try them for 90 days. Let them run through whatever plan or marketing growth that you have in place. But most importantly, make sure that you or somebody that you've hired is ready to answer the phone and make those dials. And there you have it. Those are some of the major ways to advertise. There's other pieces that I didn't get into, which is going online and pushing out ads, finding spots that people are looking. At the end of the day, the easiest way to think of this, where are the eyeballs? You need to find out where people are looking. Gary Vaynerchuk said it best. Find out where the attention is and advertise there. It might just be a blog website. That might be your best producing overall content where you can get the best return on putting an ad out somewhere. It might even be a content creator in your area. If you found someone that's local and is doing that, maybe you pay them $100 for a shout out or whatever the cost is. So play with different things and see what works for you. But most importantly, coming up is going to be a future video, which you've got to subscribe to follow to get to. Let me know if this is something that should be on a separate channel. But I'm also going to cover what you do with those leads next, because getting them is one thing, but the process is how many phone calls, how many emails, what should I do with a lead that I get? What's the process to take them through? Subscribe for more. Comment below. Let me know that. I need to know from you guys. It's very powerful. I want to make sure I'm giving you the most content. And if you're an agent, I don't want to bombard you with just the company stuff and the customer stuff. And if you're a customer, you may not even want to see this part of it. You'd be like, oh my gosh, these guys are so shady. They're trying to there's a process. We work our butts off to get your information so that we can save you money and hopefully connect and do a service for you.